Page 30, the scale in octaves. At the top of the page, they're giving you a review on intervals. I'll let you do that. If you have any questions, you're welcome to ask me. As far as I'm concerned, as long as you know what an interval is and you know how to count them out, you know how to figure them out, close enough. One thing might be kind of fun though, and this gets back to practicing scales. On these intervals, they're doing it, I'll do it both hands together, they're the same notes. Through to the octaves, just 2, 3, 4, okay. They want you to transpose those to G major and D major. Well, in order to do that, first you need to know the scales, because you need to know what notes are in the scale, in the key signature. If you know the scale, you know the notes in the key signature. You don't have to worry about the key signatures. Just G major, okay, and you just automatically know it's all the white keys except the F sharp. So you can play the same thing in G major. It doesn't matter where you play it, just wherever. But you're going to add the F sharp because it's part of the key. So, and then D major, same thing. If you know the scale on D major, you know there's 2 sharps, a C sharp and an F sharp, and you'll just play those. This is one of the beautiful things about knowing the scales, and this is how I actually play the piano, is I don't think how many flats and what flats and sharps are involved. I simply think what key is it in, and I play in that key. It just sort of happened. I didn't intend it to happen that way, but once I knew the scales, I was really comfortable with them, then it just happened. It sort of happened by itself. So when I look at, like on the next page on that minuet, and I see it's got 1 flat, I know it's an F major or D minor. It doesn't matter to me which it's in. I'm just going to play it, and I'm going to think, the key it's in will come out. I'll know real quick if it's F major or D minor, most cases. And I'll just play in that key, which means when I run into a B, I'm just going to make it a B flat automatically. I don't have to worry about it. The problems I run into in doing it this way is that if you run across a piece with a lot of accidentals in it, I'm lost. I have to stop and I have to think about each note in that case. This is an accidental and what I'm changing here. So the playing in the key doesn't help in that situation. Let's get back to octaves. I got off. Anyway, that's so much on intervals. On octaves, this is an important thing we need to learn to do. An octave, as you know, is an interval of an eighth, all right, note to note, C to C, D to D, E to E, and you need to develop that feel. Well, some people have really little hands. One of the concert pianist teachers I had over the years was a lady, educated in England, and call them all crotchets and minims and quavers and all that, and I had to learn what that was. I've forgotten since, but that's how. And she had really little hands, and she could just barely stretch an octave. Just if she really tried, she could just reach an octave. But she played things for me that were just phenomenal. I mean, really difficult things that took big stretches. And there's ways of doing that, even with little hands. So even with these octaves, if your hand can't quite reach the octave, then you roll them. You play one note and then the other. Like so, and you'll get good at that because you'll be doing it so much. There's different ways of doing it. Either that or you leave out one note in a piece when you can't do it. You roll them or you leave out a note or something. But for here, if you can, try and reach the octave because that's the whole idea of this exercise. And there's a rest between each one, so you got time. And then you come up, immediately come up to the next one, and the next one. Do this at the wrist. Don't do the whole arm. We don't want a lot of motion on this. Just a little motion. Here, up, up, up. And they're doing it in staccato. They're down, up, bounce off, and then come back down on the keys. Bump, 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 like so. And immediately after playing, you go to the next one. I aim one finger and I just hold my hand in that position. It doesn't matter which finger. If it's the melody, whichever finger has the melody, that's it. Otherwise, the thumb is usually working. I can aim the thumb. And the little finger, I just hold my hand. As flex at the wrist, you don't have to worry about getting tense. People will get tense because they want to hold that position. Well, flex at the wrist, you don't have to worry about it. Stay relaxed, and you should go both directions. And then the second line is left. And this you should also go do in the other keys. I mean, it's just another way of practicing the scale. It doesn't hurt to do both hands together if you can. Then G major. I use fourth finger on the black keys. That's what Liszt taught, but not all teachers teach that. You can use fifth finger if you have little hands. D major again. It's good exercise, and you'll run across it in pieces, and if you can do it here, it just makes playing these pieces a little easier. I'm not going to do a play with me on this. I don't think you really need one on scales. I mean, you can read that. Just whatever speed you choose to take, do it in rhythm and keep it even and controlled. Dynamic-wise, louds and softs, that's fine. Play it loud and then repeat it and play it soft. It's good practice.